First tonight, there has been a deadly shark attack off Rottnest Island. Desperate attempts to save a 38-year-old unfolded in front of holidaymakers with a 4-metre great white thought to be responsible. Let's bring in Keely Lynch, who is live in Perth for us. Keely, what can you tell us?
Georgie, it's understood the 38-year-old diver was in the waters around Horseshoe Reef and Marjorie Bay, around a kilometre off the popular island, when just before 10 this morning he was bitten by a 4-metre great white shark. He was taken by boat to Geordie Bay Jetty. Witnesses have told 10 News paramedics worked desperately for over an hour to try and save him, but nothing could be done. Other sightings of a large great white were reported around Rottnest following the attack. The Department of Fisheries say a patrol vessel will remain monitoring the waters throughout the afternoon. Georgie, WA Police will now prepare a report for the coroner, with people on the island being urged to take extra caution in the water.
A tragedy. Thank you very much, Keely. Well, there's been a terrifying ordeal for Friday night shoppers at a supermarket in Sydney's West. A man holding an axe entered the Woolworths, allegedly attempting to attack a worker before fleeing.
Marching through Ermington town centre, a very clearly agitated, axe swinging Peter Ashby, the 59-year-old striding out of sight around 5 o'clock last night.
I just heard him screaming, but alhamdulillah we're safe, you know.
Just seconds earlier, police say he attempted to assault a 27-year-old Woolworths worker with the weapon.
Very, very sad. But hopefully he's all right and he didn't get hurt.
The axe slung over his shoulder, Ashby caught on camera leaving the scene of the crime. Hot on the trail, police screamed straight past the wanted man just roaming the streets. Now unarmed after ditching the weapon, but just as unsettled. And by 6 p.m, he was spotted and stopped after walking into the path of police.
The lights and sirens were on and there was lots of screaming and yelling.
Come out, have a look, and old mate's in handcuffs getting chucked in the back of the paddy wagon.
The 59-year-old was immediately taken to hospital and treated for a pre-existing medical condition under police watch. They then brought him back to the station where he was charged with a fray and being armed with intent to commit an indictable offence.
Our local Woolies were there, at least a few times a week, and just hearing something like that, pretty scary.
A Friday night fiasco now under total control. Peter Ashby will front court tomorrow. Olivia Blunden, 10 News.
An Adelaide driver's attempt to hide from police after his truck rolled on a major freeway has ultimately resulted in his capture. Just after 3:30 this morning, emergency crews were called to the old toll gate at the bottom of the southeastern freeway after a truck ploughed through a median strip and rolled on its side. After 5 hours, police located the wayward driver in nearby scrub. Charges are yet to be laid. Meanwhile, investigations are underway as to how a man was hit by a freight train in Adelaide. The incident at the Salisbury station happened just before 6 o'clock last night. The 49-year-old local man somehow only sustained non-life-threatening injuries. He was taken to hospital. The man allegedly behind the wheel of this distressing crash in Sydney's inner west has today been charged. It's been more than 6 months since the now 35-year-old allegedly struck a 67-year-old woman with his car, pinning her against a Leichhardt cafe before driving away. The man faced bail court today. Corrections officers at South Australia's biggest prison fear they were the target after a gang of masked men gained entry to a staff car park. Police have revealed the same vehicle had also been involved in a shooting just days later, with the incident sparking major security concerns at the facility.
They guard South Australia's worst criminals, but corrections officers at Adelaide's Yatala prison say they themselves now need protection after a gang of masked men in a stolen car cruised past malfunctioning boom gates and onto prison grounds.
It's quite likely that these individuals, when they drove through this car park, that they were looking for a particular staff member.
Police have confirmed just days after the security breach, that same car was involved in a drive-by shooting on a home before being torched. It sparked concerns from the union. The suspects could have had a gun in the car when at the prison.
Masked individuals covering their faces, hoods, and they've been involved in a shooting. That's a huge concern to staff safety at Yatala.
Workers are now demanding large fences be extended to include their car park and private security guards to be on site 24/7 instead of the current 4-hour shift. The South Australian government says security measures have already been increased, but wouldn't confirm specifics.
It's under investigation at the moment. Security upgrades have been put in place, and that our door is always open to communicate and engage with the union.
What measures are being put in place are far from adequate.
While it's still unclear who was in the vehicle at the time, the manhunt for the suspects continues. But South Australia Police say they're satisfied the incident posed no threat to the facility or prison staff.
Whoever made the comment that there's no concerns for staff safety at Yatala Labor Prison, based on what's occurred, I'm sorry to be frank, but they've got rocks in their heads.
Josh Webster, 10 News.
Queensland's Labor Party is hoping it will be able to keep a heartland seat when polls close in less than an hour for the Stafford by-election. Residents cast their votes today after the death of MP Jimmy Sullivan, who was a member of the ALP until his expulsion last year. Labor won the seat over the LNP by a little more than 5% at the 2024 election. The Prime Minister has been forced to defend the government's changes to property and wealth taxes as new polling shows Australians feel unsure about the reforms. It comes as the federal opposition faces questions over just how much its tax plan will cost.
Celebrating the wins.
Together, we are in a better position than anyone was predicting.
After a big budget week, the Prime Minister today joining the Energy Minister to provide an update on fuel security.
We have now more diesel and jet fuel than at any time since the minimum stock obligation became law in 2023.
But feeling insecure are Australian renters. New polling conducted by Wolf & Smith for advocacy group Amplify shows just a quarter of renters believe the budget will be good for them, while nearly 40% think it'll be bad. It also found Australians overall are unconvinced by the government's changes to CGT and negative gearing. The Prime Minister forced to defend them today.
Aimed fairly and squarely at providing additional opportunity for young people to own their own home.
People are seeing that the future of Australians are going to be mortgaged by this Prime Minister.
Meanwhile, the coalition's been forced to defend against claims its big tax plan will actually cost $35 billion.
That is a $12.5 billion gap in their costings.
It's clear that the opposition is living rent-free in the Prime Minister's head.
There are clear divisions between the major parties when it comes to tax, but the government is focusing on what it describes as the coalition's divisive policies on migration, accusing the opposition of moving away from the centre and towards the far right.
They're dropping off the spectrum of mainstream Australian politics.
We're focused on making sure we're building out the future of the Australian community.
Overseas now, and there are fears the US could be abandoning Taiwan after an historic summit between President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Analysts are saying Beijing came out on top in the high-stakes meeting.
Back on home turf, President Donald Trump talked up his China summit.
That was a great success. It was fantastic.
But the only clear outcome of the historic meeting with Xi Jinping seems to be a rising concern around Taiwan.
I think the last thing we need right now is a war. That's 9,500 miles away. I think that's the last thing we need.
Backing away from previously approved arms sales to the island nation, the US president sparked immediate backlash from both sides of the aisle.
The State Department brought something to Congress. We made a decision on it quickly. And the president is the one that's holding it up.
Look, we got to arm Taiwan so they can defend themselves for deterrence against. Chairman Xi is obviously very aggressive, and he showed that at the summit.
The situation with Iran appears even murkier, even as President Trump insisted he and Xi are on the same page.
On Iran, it's very interesting. He feels strongly they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Iran today publicly thanked Chinese officials for their diplomatic support.
We have very good relations with China. We are strategic partners to each other. And we know that Chinese have a good intention.
Ultimately, the summit delivered few immediate breakthroughs, and that's not really a shock. With President Trump battling slumping approval ratings and the crucial midterm elections looming, Chinese officials were always expected to take a tough negotiating stance.
I think that the absence of these outcomes is notable. And I think it also reflects just the shift in the balance of power between the United States and China.
But there were some trade wins. China reportedly agreeing to buy more farm products, 200 Boeing airplanes and US energy. It's a far cry from the 2017 summit, when President Trump and Xi participated in extravagant signing sessions and both sides announced hundreds of billions of dollars in commercial deals.
We have to confront the reality that China has developed new trade relationships with other countries.
Where that leaves the US-China relationship is unclear.
Cheers.
But for now, both sides are keen to claim wins, even as the global instability remains. In the United States, Catherine Firkin, 10 News.
Well, in just a few hours' time, Delta Goodrem will be going for gold at the Eurovision Grand Final. She and the rest of Australia are hoping to eclipse the rest of the competition and somehow top this epic performance at the semis. It's a banger. Our singing sensation is one of the favourites. If she manages to make history and win the Crystal Trophy, a big question remains. Could Eurovision be hosted down under?
When Australia debuted in Eurovision in 2015, the story was if Australia wins, then it will be staged. The contest the year after will be staged in Europe. Now, though, it doesn't seem that that will necessarily be the case. By staging it in Australia, might fit in with the organisers' attempts to expand the commercial ambitions of Eurovision globally.
Delta will take to the stage around 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. Well, to another glittering event, and thousands of NRL diehards have descended onto Brisbane, decked from head to toe in their team colours for Magic Round. The event pulls visitors from right around the world, and the party, it's just getting started.
Magic is in the air as the River City hosts 16 teams for one of the biggest weekends on the NRL calendar.
It's like a tradition now that we do.
For sporting fanatics, it's the highlight of the year.
We absolutely love it. We're a big footy family, so yeah, it's great to get around it.
And the drinks have been pouring since the early morning.
Yeah, it started at 7 this morning. This is a little top up.
For some, this is their favourite holiday.
Magic Round is girls' weekend.
And a chance to dress to impress.
Great attire, everything's Cowboys, even underwear.
Painting the entire city in team colours.
It's going to be non-stop winners all weekend wearing this shirt.
And faces.
There must be a thousand people, right? 1,000 people that are playing, so we're just laying them all on the table here.
The Magic